What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mod Squad Network's Layeth the Squad Down. I am your host, Kevin. Joining me this week is Harley. What's up, Harley?
Not much.
Steve is on assignment this week. He could not make the show, so Harley actually decided to fill in. She watched some of the shows, some of the wrestling shows for the first time in a long time, and she may have some interesting points of view on it from basically a newbie coming back to wrestling. So let's just get right into it. I don't think you watched Raw, Harley, but Raw was a good show. It is these. This is the go home show for SmackDown for Raw. We had Ricochet making an appearance, um, coming out, interrupting Logan Paul, who is already out at ringside. They had a little back and forth, and that was really it. So it was a decent opening segment. Nothing really happened. But the first match of the night was Ludwig Kaiser versus Matt Riddle, with Ludwig Kaiser actually getting the victory, which was, in my opinion, a little bit weird because you figure Matt Riddle would be the guy that they would want to go over there. And guys, I'm going to go through most of these shows pretty quick just to get to SummerSlam, which we are also covering as well. We have Maxine Dupree versus Valhalla, with Maxine Dupree picking up her second victory. So there we go. Tommaso Ciampa versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Um, we get the Judgment Day coming out before this, though, and basically after each member spoke, Raquel Rodriguez came down to get some revenge on Rhea Ripley, and she freaking beat the shit out of Rhea for a good segment, and then Rhea, chop blocked her knee, her injured knee, and got the upper hand on her that way. So when Raquel Rodriguez's knee is healed, she will definitely get a match for the belt. But we have Tommaso Ciampa versus Shinsuke. Shinsuke picking up the victory. Gunther versus Chad Gable, with Chad Gable getting the victory. It was a 5 minute time thing. You beat the clock. Chad Gable gets the victory that way, but then Gunther's like, no, put more time on. We're not ending it that way. And then Gunther actually gets the pin on Gable. We get Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus, with Becky getting the victory. Of course, Becky's getting the victory. That's the way it should be. Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn versus Dominic Mysterio and Damian Priest, with Rollins and Zayn getting the victory, and that is your main event on Raw. It was a decent show, but it was a go home show, so not much moved the needle as far as progressing many storylines, because SummerSlam was this past weekend, so we just sort of moved on. Guys, before we go any further, make sure you check out our sponsors, Skullectomy by Jolt 7 Studios. The hashtag right there, the QR code, scan it, scan it, scan it. It'll take you to their Facebook page. Check out their awesome work at Skullectomy. And then Scott Straka Art, scan that QR code. It'll take you to his website to where you can check out his awesome work. If you're watching on YouTube, Harley is actually showcasing some of his awesome art behind her right now.
And it's fairly decent price too.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And our QR code for our shirts right here. Just scan that QR code. It'll take you to our Facebook page to where you can order our shirts. Our shirt of the month is actually our gamer shirt, our Mario shirt, Mario inspired shirt. The Mod Squad gamer. So there we go. Check that out. All right. SmackDown, which I do believe you did watch SmackDown, if I'm correct, Harley.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. It started off with LA Knight. Yeah. versus Sheamus. Um, this was a really good hard hitting fight with LA Knight defeating Sheamus. What did you think of LA Knight and Sheamus? Do you have any notes on this at all?
None, not at all.
LA Knight is one of those wrestlers that he gets a lot of knock because a lot of people think he's copying like The Rock and Stone Cold, but he's like blend. I think he's kind of blended their old school styles together and updated it into what he is today. So I think that's pretty cool. Next, we get the OC versus the Brawling Brutes. This was a no contest. Montez Ford and D'Angelo Dawkins immediately leveled up. They went from beloved, fun loving baby faces to a tag team that can threaten any team, especially with the influence of the Almighty behind them. Um, yeah, this was pretty cool because the OC and the Brawling Brutes got interrupted by the Street Profits, who have now joined Bobby Lashley. It looks like it's going to be a reformation and revamp of the Hurt Business, which I'm excited about. Um, and Harley's just sitting there. She's like, "Yeah, I have nothing to say." Next, we have Cameron Grimes and versus Austin Theory, with Theory defeating Grimes. We get the Grayson Waller effect with Bailey and Io Sky, which was it was nothing. Shotzi came out and was trying to cut off Bailey's hair.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. Like she runs out of the ring screaming, and
Yeah, Shotzi is she looks like a female Joker at this point.
I
Uh,
mean she's awesome. I That's my first time watching her, and I think I like her just because of the fact that she gives off that psycho energy to begin with, considering my name's Harley. And
no, I get, yeah. No, I definitely get that. It was a good segment. Shotzi is definitely being featured a little bit more. I'm curious to see what they're gonna do now. But then we have Zelina Vega versus Io Sky, with Vega actually defeating Sky. Vega has her number. Um, she's been defeating him pretty well. Then we have Jay Uso versus Solo Sokoa. This is your main event of SmackDown, with Uso defeating Sokoa. Um, there you have it. That is your go home show. That could have been like a preview of what you may see on SmackDown, a tell, if you will, because usually if somebody goes over on the go home show, they do not go over on the pay per view. So Jay Uso went over on SmackDown. So that's your go home show. Go home.
yeah, but he was out to like state his name basically because earlier in the show didn't he like kick his brother in the face?
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're brothers, and yeah, he kicked it. They're feuding right now. It's
I mean, he was
it's
trying to tell him you're being brainwashed, and he didn't want to listen.
No, that's very true, and that's been the whole story in this. Is Roman and Sokoa right now are on one side, and Jimmy and Jay are on the other. And Jimmy has been hurt. You haven't seen Jimmy; he's been hurt for the past few weeks. He's been off TV because Roman and Sokoa took him out. Basically, just totally just beat the crap out of him. So Jay is there to defend his brother, and yeah, he took it out on Solo pretty well. It's a family battle. This is one of the best storylines going in wrestling right now. Been over a year long story. So it's really good. It's got people totally invested in this thing. So, but now we're gonna move over to AEW. This is the 200th episode of Dynamite. And it kicks off with Chris Jericho and oh my gosh, Takashita versus Sammy Guevara and Daniel Garcia, with Jericho and Takashita winning. I believe Harley has something to say on this one.
I was excited to see that Chris Jericho was still wrestling. I grew up watching him with my grandparents, so I was super excited for that.
No, and it was really cool. If you're a wrestling fan and you haven't been watching and you see Jericho, you'll know that Jericho has changed the way he's done things from since he was in WCW to WWE and now AEW. His whole gimmicks have changed. He reinvents himself to stay relevant. He is probably one of the smartest wrestlers to date as far as reinvention. Next, we have a Jack Perry face to face with Jerry Lynn. Sort of. It didn't really happen because Jerry Lynn brought out RVD. So yeah, RVD is going to be facing Jack Perry here soon. So
And that's hilarious. When he came out, I was doing the RPD.
yeah, it was RVD's first appearance. I believe his first appearance on AEW. So that was pretty cool that you were actually there to watch that one. Next, we have an anything goes match: Trent Beretta versus El Penta Zero, Med versus Penta versus Moxley. With Beretta defeating Moxley and Penta, so that was pretty cool. That was a good match. That was a really good match, actually.
Is that the one where they put the thumbtacks on the mat? The
Yes, yes.
I thought that was weird, and then like when they got up, there was thumbtacks all in their back, and I'm like, ow.
Any match with Moxley in it, you expect blood because either he's gonna bleed or he's gonna make someone else bleed. That's just the way that goes. And Moxley is one of those hardcore wrestlers. Next, we get a MJF promo um, to say that he's going to defend his title versus Adam Cole because he deserves it. And not only does he deserve it, he's going to get it in England at the pay per view. So, and that pissed off Roderick Strong in the back. Um, so we'll see how the friendship between Roderick Strong and Adam Cole baby goes. So next we have, I believe this is the match of the night or the main event: the Elite versus Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Sagat Singh. Um, let's see, with the Elite defeating Jarrett and Lethal. Oh no, that was not the main event. The main event was the Ring of Honor tag team. Was that the main event? No, it wasn't. Jesus Christ, I'm just missing everything. Ring of Honor tag team title: El Idolo, Vikingo, and Commander versus the Aussie Open. With the Aussie Open defeating Commander and Vikingo. This again, really good match. Super athletic. What'd you think of this match? Did the athleticism that these guys were doing in the ring?
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. WWE has better storylines, but the wrestling and the athleticism, AEW has in spades for sure. Um, n- Now we get to the main event, which is the AEW World Women's Championship: Hikaru Shida versus Tony Storm, with Tony Storm losing to Shida. Great match, a freaking amazing match. One of the better women's matches that you'll see in a while. I really enjoyed this. Shida, I think I was surprised that they allowed Shida to win the belt back. Because Shida had the belt during the pandemic era, to where there was nobody watching in stadium. It was just television. She held it then, but she hasn't had it since, and she really hasn't been a main challenger. And now Sheeta has the belt. We're going to see how she does with the belt going forward in live events. So I'm excited to see that. All right. I'm going to go through Rampage and Collision very quickly, guys, so we can get to SmackDown. I mean SummerSlam. I'm just going to read the winners and losers. We had Keith Lee and the Hardys versus the Butcher and the Blade and Kip Sabian. The Hardys winning, which I'm sure you were.
I was excited for that. I loved the Hardys. They were my favorite wrestlers back in the day.
Oh yeah, and speaking of the Hardys, like,
Them with Lita, it was.
yep, and I was at a small con yesterday at the day of recording this, and I met Lita and got her autograph. So that it just sort of fit, you know. Next, we have AR Fox and Swerve Strickland in a match, along with, um, oh yeah, with AR Fox and Swerve getting a just it was they were against nobody, so it was a complete squash. Then we had Anna Jay versus Sky Blue, with Anna Jay picking up the victory. I wish Sky Blue would get more of a push because I love me some Sky Blue.
My
Not
first time seeing her, and I thought she was awesome. And so, yeah, I was kind of sad that she didn't win.
Yeah, and Sky Blue got that booty too. I'm not gonna lie. Um, Best Friends versus Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, with the Blackpool Combat Club picking up the victory. This was a parking lot match. It was basically just a brawl. It was hard to actually focus in on anything. A lot of times when you have these matches, there's so much going on in different places that it's hard to get it all on on camera. So it was a bit of a mess, but the Blackpool Combat Club picks up the victory there. So what'd you think of Rampage?
Well, I like the fact that the Big Show is now a host now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Well, it's the big show.
and I the parking lot match was it was pretty awesome because I've never seen one of those before with them taking bumpers off of cars and beating the crap out of each other with them, and it
it,
was
it
interesting.
yeah, it's more of a fight than a wrestling match. And like I said, I'm not a fan of that type of wrestling. I like for most of the action to be in ring. Um, it's okay to have, them go outside the ring every once in a while, but they do that a lot in AEW.
And in the parking lot, there's so much going on, you can't keep track of it.
It was muddled. It makes things muddled, in my opinion.
And then Sky Blue, I like Sky Blue. She was awesome.
There you go. All right. Next we have Collision. Just gonna go through Collision real quick. I need to start watching Collision. Unfortunately, this was on at the same time as SummerSlam, so I did not watch Collision. So I'm just gonna go through it real quick. We had the AEW World Tag Team Championship. FTR versus Brian Cage and Big Bill, with FTR getting the victory. We had the TBS Championship match, Chris Statlander versus Mercedes Martinez, with Statlander defeating Martinez. We have a backstage segment with Tony Storm questioning herself for losing the title. We have Samoa Joe versus Serpentico, with Joe picking up the victory. And speaking of Samoa Joe, make sure you check out Twisted Metal, guys. He was Sweet Tooth in that show. Did an amazing job.
Yeah,
Um,
Scott Straka did a Sweet Tooth picture too. That was pretty awesome.
Definitely, it really is. Like, I may have to get that art print. Next, we have the AEW World Trios Championship. The House of Black versus Johnson, Andretti, and Martin, with the House of Black getting the victory. We have Metalik versus Jay White, with Metalik picking up the victory over Switchblade. And then we have the main event, the real World Heavyweight Championship match, CM Punk versus Ricky Starks, in a great match with Punk defeating Starks. So there you have it. That is Collision. Guys, make sure I'm gonna have to start watching Collision. I may go back and watch it today just so I can catch up on what's fully been going on instead of just reading about it. But definitely check that out. All right, guys, SummerSlam. Harley, you watched a little bit of SummerSlam. I don't think you watched it all, but we have the opening match: Ricochet versus Logan Paul. It was a really good, really athletic match, doing some amazing stunts in and around the ring, with Logan Paul winning by cheating. He got some brass knucks and punched Ricochet with them. But other than that, it was a really good match. I enjoyed this match.
Well, if you're gonna cheat, that's how you do it. Right there.
That is that is how you do it. Next, we have Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes in the rubber match to see who is better. And Rhodes picks up the victory. No cheating. He won it clean. And after the match, Brock and Cody shook hands. Brock showed him respect. So that was really cool.
I saw pictures of that this morning. It was pretty awesome that he did that.
Yeah, that was a super good match. I don't know if it was the match of the night, but it was a long match, especially for a Brock Lesnar match. Brock don't have super long matches. This was a pretty decently sized match for a Brock Lesnar match.
Well, I mean, you got to think he's been wrestling.
Oh, you are breaking up, Harley. I cannot. Everything you said just sort of went computer. I think you're back now, though. Um, Next, we have the Slim Jim SummerSlam Battle Royal with the winner, with everybody saying L.A. Knight. Yeah. I love L.A. Knight, man. L.A. Knight is one of those wrestlers that he's getting super pops right now. He's getting a big push, and I'm excited to see what they do with him. And they need to do something quick because he is one of the older wrestlers on the roster. So we have Shayna Baszler versus Ronda Rousey in a MMA rules match, which this was a I did not enjoy this match at all. It was a horrible, horrible attempt at an MMA rules match. You can see that they were pulling their punches. The moves that they were using were not MMA worthy. Um, if you're gonna have a match like this, actually let them fight. Actually let them do MMA. What they were trained to do. But Shayna
Especially
Baszler,
Ronda Rousey.
yeah, yeah, but Shayna Baszler got the victory. You know, make them do the moves that they're trained to do, but still have it scripted. Like they can throw punches 75% and still not hurt each other. They were throwing them at probably 25 to or 50. I don't even think it was 50. It had to be around 20. It, it was horrible. I did not enjoy this match. I did not enjoy this match at all. Next, we have Gunther versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental title. Another amazing match. This match was so good. It was hard hitting. This is the type of match I enjoy, to where every strike feels like they are hitting the shit out of each other. The chops, you at the end of the match, Gunther was just welted up all on his chest from the chops. So was Drew McIntyre. They were hitting the hell out of each other. With Gunther getting the victory on this, he is retaining. I think he's going to break the Honky Tonk Man's Intercontinental Championship title reign. You know, he's gonna go past it. So I'm excited. Next, we have Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship, with Seth Rollins picking up the victory. This was a really good match. The Judgment Day ended up coming down to the ring towards the end. Um, at one point, they were going to hit Rollins with the briefcase that Priest has, and Finn's like, no, not yet. We're still going on plan A. And then at one point, Finn's like, all right, give me the briefcase. So Damien threw the briefcase in the ring, went to the side to distract the ref. And while he's distracting the ref, Finn is going to grab the briefcase to uh, probably hit Seth Rollins with it. But as he's grabbing it, he gets a curb stomp onto the briefcase from Seth Rollins, with Seth Rollins picking up the victory. So, and it looked like there was some tension there between Damian Priest and Finn Balor again, yet again. So a little dissension here in the Judgment Day. Next, we have Asuka versus Charlotte versus Bianca Belair for the women's championship. This was a it was sloppy. There were some sloppy moments, but the ending of this match was really cool. You had you had Asuka. No, you had Bianca who had an injured knee. She had injured her knee midway through the match. Charlotte had Bianca in a figure four, and so Bianca was about ready to tap out because she had just bridged it into her figure eight when Asuka comes into the ring, blows some blue mist into Charlotte's face, goes over to Bianca to grab her. And while Bianca's still in the figure four because Charlotte hasn't broke it and she's still grabbing her face, Bianca grabs Asuka, rolls her up, and pins her to become the new women's heavyweight champion. But just as she's celebrating, Io Sky's music hit. She has the briefcase. She runs down to the ring. Bailey snatches the briefcase from her hands, smashes Bianca over the face, hits Asuka with it, gives the briefcase back to Io. Io goes and cashes in and uh, does a moonsault onto Bianca to become the new women's championship. So we had a championship change hands from Asuka to Bianca and from Bianca to Io, all in the same match. Very cool. I am super glad to see Io Sky being your new women's championship. And I called it. I called it for a long time ago. Io is going to be the breakout star of Damage Control, and it's showing. Next, we have Roman Reigns versus Jay Uso for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship in a tribal chief rules match and a tribal rules match. Um, dude, this was a back and forth. This is my match of the night of the week, guys. This right here is the match of the week for me. Um, it was such a great match with so many close calls. Solo ended up coming down, and you know, uh, he gave him the spike, and he still kicked out. Then Jay ended up grabbing some chairs and just going to town on Solo, took him out, and finally Jay has Roman in. He gave him a spear. He's getting ready to. He does the moon or the splash on Roman, and he's about to get the 1, 2, 3, and then a hooded figure comes in, grabs him by the foot, pulls him off. It's Jimmy, his brother, the one he was protecting, the one he was doing all this for. And Jimmy ends up giving him a super kick to the face, throws him back in the ring for Roman to pick up the win. So it's family drama all over again, guys. Family drama. I'm loving the storyline. Every family has drama, maybe not to this extent, but I'm loving what they're doing because all of these guys are family, and you're seeing all this unfold on TV. It's great. Harley, all the matches you've seen this week, what is your match of the week?
The Hardy Brothers.
Hardy Brothers. I get it. I get it. I get it. So, watching the little bit of wrestling that you watched this week, is it enough to put you back on the wrestling bandwagon for a good while, or was this maybe just a little dipping your feet in the water, maybe come back to it. Not sure.
I might go back to SmackDown and Raw because those were what I watched back in the day. AEW, it was okay, but it wasn't like my. But I might watch it too. So yeah.
I get it. If you here's the way I tell people, like, if you enjoyed WWE back in the day, keep watching WWE. But if you were a fan back in the early '90s of WCW instead of WWE in the Monday Night Wars, then definitely watch AEW because that's where you get your more WCW vibe from. That's how I describe it. All right, guys. As we come to a close, make sure you check out the last podcast you'd want. That is Steve's podcast. Make sure you check that out on YouTube. Make sure you check out the Daily Dank on YouTube if you like cannabis and cannabis entertainment. Make sure you check out Back to the Retro Review. That is my podcast where I review movies from the 80s and 90s. Check out all the other shows here on the Mod Squad Network. You are watching the wrestling show. Make sure you check out Movie Talk Mondays, the horror show, the gamer show, and we are live every Saturday night with a giveaway. Make sure you check out the or the Nerd Tender, which drops sometimes on Fridays. Um, am I missing anything, Harley?
No.
All right. All right, guys, that does it for this episode of Layeth the Squad Down featuring Harley. Um, until next time, guys, thank you for being a friend.